Hi, hello. If you don't want to hear about the most depraved individual I've seen on YouTube in a while, I highly suggest you click off this video because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Listen, I know we all make jokes about furries every once in a while because, for one, they're odd, and secondly, they're low-hanging fruit. But for the most part, furries are very chill individuals. They just want to chill and hang out in their expensive ass fursuit. And then you have Hypnotist Sappho over here, who is comparing coming out as a zoophile to basically Stonewall, and is starting their own Zoophile organization in North America, along with a lot of other depraved shit. Now I know that's a lot to take in, so let's just start from the beginning really quick. 2 months ago, Hypnotist Sappho made a video called Coming Out About Things, where they admitted to being a zoophile.
And I want to clear the air and say that, for the record, I am a zoophile. You did not mishear that. I am a zoophile. I do not have a thing for humans. I am more attracted to dogs like German shepherds.
This clearly being controversial because zoophilia is literally the sexual attraction between a human and an animal. And you know, when you own a German shepherd that you just really, really like.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Needless to say, it's not a good scenario for the German shepherd. It's also very illegal in most places, punishments varying from a fine to a full-blown despawning. One of the worst parts of this video is the part where they try to differentiate what they are in comparison to what they are not. Those who practice bestiality in the worst way possible, saying that there's a difference between the two.
Unfortunately, when people think of zoophiles, especially furries, that's the person that comes to mind. That is the situation that comes to mind. And I'm talking about horrible abuses. I couldn't imagine somebody doing that sort of shit to my animals, my mate, I can't imagine who would harm another living being in those ways. And to be 100% clear, I am not like that. Most of the zoo community is also not like that and utterly despises it. People who force animals into situations they don't want, physically and through other means, are completely deplorable and seen as rapists. Playing with an animal that is not sexually mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia, and it's treated as such. I do not support those people, and they do not deserve the same title. They're fetishists and bestialists. I do not want them to be the face of the community, and they should not be the face of the community.
And goes even further into this in the comments by saying, and I quote, "Animals can consent verbally and non-verbally." You know, I always find it funny how they always talk about this stuff and they reference like domesticated animals and stuff like that. You know, animals that have been trained and are chill to this debauchery. But if you really want to test this theory, Sappho, I highly recommend you go up to a bear or a fox or a wolf in the woods and see just how well they consent to all this stuff. Because I'll tell you right now, it's probably not going to go well for you and debunk that theory really quick. And if that wasn't enough for you, they go further into it, saying that the normalization of zoophilia is absolutely necessary and is like the LGBT community's struggle to gain equality.
You don't have anything wrong with homosexuals or gay people. You support them, you support LGBT, nothing against them. But I guarantee that many of you, even if you can't imagine it now, if you were growing up in the 1960s and were being fed all of the news and social propaganda about how gay people should stay in the closet, how it's unnatural and against nature, and all sorts of crazy shit like that, a lot of you would probably be anti-gay, anti-LGBT. And that's just how it is.
Listen, Sappho, I promise you that a lot of us LGBT people in the community absolutely do not want you in this shit. Especially because having sexual fantasies or wanting to literally sleep with an animal is in no way similar at all to two consenting adults of the same sex wanting to do stuff with each other. Hard truth to accept, I know, but there's clearly a difference considering the fact that harmful things can come about from zoophilia. That we'll get into momentarily, don't worry. Now if all this stuff is starting to sound a little familiar, it's because it is. This is not the first time a horrible group has tried to hijack the LGBT community to slide themselves in there. The one that comes to mind for me is Pedos trying to weasel their way into the LGBT community by going as MAPS nowadays, aka a minor attracted person, aka the cutesy version of a pedophile. Oddly enough, also in the name of trying to normalize their bullshit. You're gonna start seeing a lot of similarities between the two groups in a little bit. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Honestly, I think my favorite thing from this has to be people in the comments telling Sappho to actually seek psychiatric help, and her going out of her way to respond saying that she already does. Because clearly, I think it's time to start seeing a new psychiatrist. Considering she wants to start a zoophile organization, that psychiatrist ain't doing her fucking job. Oh yeah, but that thing I said about them trying to start a zoophile organization in North America, yeah, that's actually a thing that they're trying to do, and it's as bad as it sounds. Sappho came out with a video called Major Announcement ZNA, which goes into how Sappho basically wants to make an organization in North America to normalize zoophilia.
I want to preface this by saying that I am working with a large group of people, between 17 and 20 active members of the zoosexual community. And that includes writers, artists, intellectuals, and pretty much everybody that you would need to start an organization from the ground up. I am very happy and proud to announce that I am the chairman of the first zoosexual rights organization in the United States and based in North America. And the name of the organization is ZETA North America, Zoosexuals Engagement for Tolerance and Acceptance, North America.
You know, it really warms my heart that you have friends that would actually want to start this with you, Sappho. It really makes me feel good that there's a bunch of other people just like you out there. Now do me a favor and face the wall. I really love that she's calling the backlash that she's getting from being literally sexually attracted to animals is just something as simple as hate or drama to her.
I still getting a lot of hate. Yeah, the drama has definitely not died down, so...
You know, maybe Sappho, just throwing it out there, going out on a limb, maybe having sexual relations with animals is illegal in a lot of fucking places, as well as has, like, you know, ton of problems inherently attached to it. But no, it's just drama on haters because she's quirky. Also, it's just the fact that she apparently told her family members about this and they were just chill with it.
Life is going pretty good. I told my family about everything and also some coworkers, and they're pretty cool with it, or at least they're indifferent, and my family, no matter what, will always love me, so, you know, I'm thankful to have understanding and good parents.
You know, after hearing that, you definitely know that this person's gene pool is just the size of a kiddie pool. Now, all jokes aside, the important thing here is that this thing is called ZETA, and as she mentions actually in her first video, ZETA stands for a ton of principles that zoophiles apparently have. Didn't know you'd have principles to fuck animals, but go off, I guess.
Zoophiles are among the most caring and loving people towards animals and their mates. We see animals as equals to humans, not as property or an object like in the eyes of the law and others. Specifically, I and other ethical zoos follow what's called ZETA principles. ZETA being the Greek symbol, but also standing for Zoophiles Engagement for Tolerance and Acceptance. So if you see that symbol on a furry, that's probably what they're referring to, or they're an ally towards that kind of cause.
Which these things right here are the principles in case you are morbidly curious or anything like that. But these are the things that Sappho apparently finds incredibly important to follow. Which is absolutely laughable when you see what she's retweeted on Twitter. Which I do have to censor because, you know, it's literally porn and this is YouTube. So this first image is of a man having sexual relations with a dinosaur, and the thing is saying that this is the Jurassic Park I want to go to. Sappho did retweet this. Followed by a dragon having things done to them, and Sappho saying, usually I wouldn't be into this stuff, but this is actually kind of hot. And the worst one by far is a human having sexual relations with a dog and saying that they have had something similar done, actually. So, this is all clearly a lot to unpack. But with all of these tweets from Sappho themselves, it is very clear that they don't follow the ZETA rules they are apparently very, very keen on following. Again, take these principles with a grain of salt because this is wrong to begin with, but she doesn't even follow the things that she constantly pushes on being important. Specifically, reading from the list here, censoring animal sexual abuse, placing the animal's will and well-being over their own desires, promoting bestiality, and just with their full chest seemingly admitting to participating in an act of bestiality. You know, themselves. You know, normal shit, just your totally normal activities. Please eject me into the sun. I do not want to live with this knowledge. Now, if my attitude throughout this wasn't clear, I find this stuff incredibly disgusting. But my morality aside, there's actually some issues behind this and the chick's argument for normalizing zoophilia, so let's actually get into the research behind this. In a study conducted by Jenny Edwards titled Arrest and Prosecution of Animal Sex Abuse Offenders in the United States, the conclusion was reached that the findings show that animal sexual abuse is a form of sexual assault and animal cruelty, and that there is a correlation between animal sex abuse offenders and those who have also sexually offended with children and adults. The range of the patterns show that zoophilia and bestiality are more pervasive and serious than previously thought to be, and that additional research needs to be conducted to see further effects. According to Professor Singh in an editorial titled Health Risks of Zoophilia and Bestiality, zoonotic diseases can be transmitted from animals to humans through bacteria, parasites, fungi, and viruses, and the most dangerous to us that can be obtained through these acts are, I'm sorry in advance, I'm probably going to butcher these, leptospirosis, echinococosis, and rabies. It has been found that CSA is also a risk factor and penile cancer can come about from that as well, and that there's a risk of injury from large animals like horses as seen in the Enumclaw horse sex case, where a man died after receiving anal sex from a horse. And in an article titled Veterinary Forensic Pathology of Animal Sexual Abuse by Stern and Smith Blackmore, there's an imbalance of power in animal sexual assault that inherently makes sexual contact with animals coercive. Animals cannot consent nor report such occurrences, which adds to it as being assault. So, my morality aside, even research and science says that this is a terrible thing to be done. And this considers not only the welfare of the animal, but your literal fucking health. Now, I think it's incredibly important to point out that other than zoophilia, which should already be the nail in the coffin for this girl, but if you need more, here it is. I believe that it's incredibly important to note that there is more depraved behavior that Hypnotist Sappho has exhibited that goes beyond zoophilia and, unfortunately, somewhat into the research I found. Hypnotist Sappho recently went and used Twitter Spaces to touch themselves, and while being an 18+ space in the title, that doesn't do jack shit from keeping people out, especially considering that their audience is chock full of minors. As I've said in a previous video, slapping an 18+ label onto stuff does not prevent minors from joining in, especially when it's something this public. 18+ spaces cannot be public given the nature of it all. I really don't know why that's so hard to wrap your feeble mind around, Sappho. Since you apparently think you did nothing wrong here and are just mad that somebody recorded what all happened and put it on Twitter as evidence to what you've done. But things apparently go further than this, and I want to make it very clear that everything from this point on is alleged. I'm just showing evidence that I found that regards Sappho and some disturbing shit. So, as previously mentioned, Sappho has a fan base that has a pretty hefty amount of minors in it. As we can see here, this is a person who says they're a minor and one that's 15 and willing to bat for Sappho and sounding like someone who's truly been groomed in all honesty, given their behavior and what I'm about to show you all. Here you can see a screenshot from a TikTok where Sappho has said on Discord, and I quote, "Yeah, I've groomed a minor once. wants. I don't even care I groomed them when I was still attracted to humans. I don't really care at all. Which, if this is true, again, this is all stuff that's alleged, and this is a real screenshot from her Discord, this is absolutely fucking vile. But in all honesty, it's rather fitting for them considering the fact that they associate with no maps. Given the fact that they were co-hosting a Twitter space where the host of it was a no map, meaning a non-offending minor attracted person, aka another pedophile that wants their slice of the LGBT pie.
This is someone Sappho's friends lie with and co-hosts with there at his Comics Corner on Twitter. Here's their bio where they say they're a map. If you don't know what a map is, pause and read this. You're literally hanging out with pedophiles in these spaces and actively chatting with them. These people are not here to comfort you or make you feel protected, they're grooming you.
When I said at the beginning how similar these groups are and how close they intersect, I wasn't joking. They're almost synonymous with each other at this point. It's also been made public that in Sappho's Discord, according to an ex-mod, there are minors in her server and they have a genuine concern for their safety given matters of hypnosis and a NSFW feral pornography chat becoming a thing there. With all of this depravity in mind, especially the keeping NSFW stuff in truly 18+ spaces, and you know, everything that happened on Discord, I truly don't think it's safe for minors to associate at all with this person. I'd go as far as to say I don't think this person deserves to have a platform anywhere to continue their depraved shit. This goes beyond just hijacking the LGBT community to do Zoophile shit. This is actual depraved shit that has no place on YouTube, Twitter, literally anywhere, honestly. They're trying to create this idea that all of this stuff is normal and fine and nothing to be ashamed of. But it shouldn't be given any normalization at all, given the harm that it's scientifically proven to do. And you know, because you just shouldn't fuck dogs, or cats, or horses, just animals in general, don't do it. On that note, that's gonna do it for this video. I am so sorry to expose you all to this depraved stuff. However, good old Anteater over here wanted me to cover it, so you can thank them for this. Because if I had to learn all this shit, you do too. We are definitely going to need a brain bleach video next week to cope with all this. I don't say this often on my channel, but I would highly recommend people actually going to report this channel for all the shit that they're doing. Again, I don't say this often with creators. I think this is the first time I've said this on this channel. But the amount of insane shit this person is trying to normalize is absolutely fucking bonkers and needs to just stop. This shit is detrimental to people, if not the human race as a whole. Feel free to leave your comments down below on this absolute nightmare of depravity. Leave a like down below to gain +1 sanity and to help me regain +1 sanity, because truly, I do need it. My search history is fucked after this video, I'll tell you what. But until the next video, I will see you guys later. Make sure your dogs, cats, all that are safe, because clearly, there's some weirdos out there that want to do some stuff to your dog, and we don't want that to